Here we go again, right? With another year comes the release of another Call of Duty game. But you know, like I know, that this year's in particular has the COD community saying that the series is pretty much dead and that they want Battlefield of all games to come and save them. Now, I don't know about you, but back in my day, there were two different sides to choose from. Either you were a COD boy or you were a part of the Battlefield battalion. There was no such thing as mingling with the other side, jumping ship, or talking about the other side unless you do it with anger and passion. Basically, you pledge your loyalty to the cause. But nowadays, that's not the case because the tables are not only turning, but they're spinning. And they're breaking one of the most sacred rules. They are jumping ship. But not only are they jumping ship, but on their way down, they're hitting cannonballs and a couple of flips before they touch the water. All in all, that's not a good look, right? The YouTube channels that I've seen who have been devoted to the game for 5 to 10 years have turned from fanboys into the mob. They have their pitchforks raised and they are demanding that either the series return to its former glory or that they pack it up and leave. Now, this translates well to me because after spending so much time watching YouTuber after YouTuber complain about what they don't like, I thought, why can't I complain? I mean, I haven't liked the Call of Duty game probably longer than most, so why not me? Why can't I do it? Why? Right? So let me get my pitchfork and let me come to the front of the class and explain to you my ups and my downs with the Call of Duty franchise. Presenting from me to you, Call of Duty, a falling out of love story by me. And we're going to head over to Chapter 1, where it all began. Hitting on the first bullet point in this presentation is going to be my origin story. Now, we're going to take it way, way back in the day when I was a little kid. And around this time, my dad, he was at the peak of being a gamer. And basically what that means is that he was either going to GameStop or he was coming back home from GameStop or anywhere else that he could buy video games from. And on one of his many journeys out, he came back with a little game called Call of Duty. And yes, it was the very first one that released back on PC in 2003. Now, in my young boy opinion, my very young boy opinion, I thought it was a cool World War II game, but it didn't really stick out to me like that. I couldn't have known in the moment the amount of power that was in my hands at the time. At that moment that I would get to see the birth of a giant, of a force that in the future would not only be too big for the competition, but also too big for itself. From that point on, I played the games in a straight line, meaning I got to play on 1, 2, 3, and so on. And I don't know if you know this, but 1, 2, and 3 were all World War II games. And that's kind of hard to imagine that good old-fashioned trench foot gameplay, you know, when nowadays you can run around and you can slide cancel and you can wall run. But something was going to happen. A switch was going to happen in the time period, and it would be the first one that was made in the franchise history. And it was a move that shaved hours and hours and hours off of my youth. And you already know what that game is, but the second bullet point is going to be Modern Warfare made me get down on one knee. And guys and girls, this was it. This was the game that pretty much defined a generation. Well, in my opinion, at least. I feel that Modern Warfare was just that once in a lifetime game that bridged everybody together. It didn't matter if you were a project baby, a geometry teacher, a lawyer, or you were a single mom. Everybody had one thing in common, that they all played Call of Duty. And now when I was in school, it was pretty much an icebreaker type of question. I mean, it was the first day of school. Everybody's got that nervous, that anxious energy. and then you get a chance to walk around, talk to people, and you slide it in there. You slide it in there. You ask them, "Hey, anybody in here play Call of Duty?" And instantly, you just see people's eyes light up because in a classroom full of 18 people, no, classroom full of 20 people, excuse me, 18 of those people played Call of Duty, including the teacher too. And from that point on, I mean, you had friends, you had something to talk about with somebody else. It was an immediate icebreaker type of question, and that was pretty much what it was known for being at the time and in the future too. I've used this many times, just breaking the ice, and it always works. It never not works. So you basically got a recipe for something that can appeal to everybody because you have guns that people can recognize, and it's a simple concept. I mean, you're a soldier boy, you run around, shoot people, and if you die, you get to start over again. I mean, it's so simple, and it's a military shooter as well, even adding to the simplicity, but it just so simple that it can just get anybody involved. And I feel like this was a lot of people's starting point into video games because of how simple it was, right? And you really can't what's the word I'm looking for? You really can't look past the impact that this game had on pretty much the gaming genre in general, right? So I always pay my respects, whether it is now, which, as I said before, don't really like the games too much now, but always got to pay my respects where I started at. And I know that this game, it shaved years and years off of my youth, and I gotta appreciate it for that. You know, it was keeping me in my room. Vitamin D, no sunlight was hitting the skin. I basically had the blinds closed, door closed, and the only light that was coming from that was illuminating my room at all was from the TV because I had Call of Duty on the screen. But now everybody got to see, you know, what was all the fuss about? Why are people losing vitamin D? Why is nobody going outside? This game was the reason for that. The last bullet point of this slide is going to be, it's raining Call of Duty, right? And it just seemed that this happiness, that it was just going to keep going for me. You had one of, if not the best game to ever be released, giving people that constant tingle in their toes. And you could count me as one of them. I mean, there was literally no such thing as not playing Call of Duty. I would come back home, play Call of Duty, get the homework done, play Call of Duty. Weekends playing Call of Duty. Every time I was playing Call of Duty, just trapped in my room. And instead of, you know, lotion in one hand, my meat in the other hand, it was both hands gripping that Xbox 360 controller. And at this point, you know, the shackles were on and they were too deep, and I didn't care. It was worth it. As I said before, I couldn't wait to get home from school because I knew, hey, it was Call of Duty time, right? And duty would continue to call my name until the end of every year. But little did I know, a single word that was currently not in my vocabulary when used to describe Call of Duty would begin swirling. And that word was betrayal. And with that, chapter 1 is wrapped up, heading on with a beautiful transition to chapter 2. The well isn't overflowing anymore. Starting us off on chapter 2, the first bullet point is going to be, I'm taken. Now, when World at War and Modern Warfare 2 came out, I was still in it. And Modern Warfare 2 really solidified the series as having a place in my heart. And at this point, I was pretty much married to the series with no thoughts of turning back. And I thought that it was going to last forever. You know, the games just had me hooked too deep at this point. To the point where there was no such thing as me not playing Call of Duty. It was pretty much an obligation. It was something that I did without putting too much thought into it, right? I had put in my service and my time, and in return, I was rewarded with a lot of fun and joy. Now that's not really a bad deal when you think about it, right? And moving forward to Black Ops 1, or the E3 that Black Ops 1 was shown at, That was really a big moment for me because I fell in love again. I fell in love at first sight, especially with the new money system they were adding in. Being able to buy guns, attachments, and outfits was really a nice addition that gave the game that much needed spice to keep me interested, right? And all in all, I think that the additions were well received by me. If no one else, it was really well received by me, right? And adding in the wager matches were, just really the cherry, the cherry on top, right? Having people sweat for their virtual racks, having me take out that We Fit headband, when the money was in danger. That's what you really need to keep people interested, right? Instead of skill-based matchmaking, why don't you throw back the wager system, have people fight over imaginary money, over something, put something on the line. You got to have something on the line if you want people to fight for it, right? Nowadays, we're just fighting for no virtual money, no nothing. We're just fighting each other just to fight each other, right? But back then, it was all good fun. But that feeling again, right? I wish that I could stop that feeling that I told you wasn't in my vocabulary. And now that feeling started to surface, and you and I both know it now as betrayal. The next bullet point, and it's actually going to be the last one for chapter 2, and that's going to be back to Black Ops. Now, I just wanted to put some respect on Black Ops. I just thought that the game just had a lot of love and a lot of effort put into it, right? The story was good, the zombies were good, even the Dead Ops arcade was pretty good, right? Even the main menu was fun, and it was a nice addition, right? Being strapped in the chair and having to tap the left and right trigger in order to get up, and then from there you find that computer and you type in the code to play Dead Ops arcade. That just speaks to creativity and just the love and effort, right? And seeing things like that as a little kid just showed me that they cared and that they wanted to keep the series alive, right? Now, this, boys and girls, is where the story takes a turn for the worst, because Black Ops 1 is the last Call of Duty that I have liked. And that was back in 2010. So yes, I haven't liked a Call of Duty game since Black Ops 1, which was 10 years ago. But we will get into the reasons in upcoming chapter 3. With the tap of a key, we're going to head on into chapter 3. And chapter 3 is The Well is Drying Up. This first bullet point is going to be a very emotional bullet point for me. And that's going to be, don't take my baby away. Please don't do it. Now, as I said before, Black Ops 1 was such a high point for me. I felt that they didn't have to release another one so soon, right? It had the campaign, the multiplayer, and the zombies, and there was not much else that you really needed, right? As I said before, just release some DLC. Just do something else inside the game, and I'll keep playing. I've pretty much proven at this point that I'm gonna keep playing this game. And you could have just waited another 2 or 3 years, but like I know, that when your time is up in your Call of Duty game, your time is up. It's time to go in the garbage can with the rest of your brothers and sisters. And it just really hurt my heart to see my game get Gillette razored. It just got tossed to the side like it didn't really mean anything, right? And at this point, it really snapped me out of the delusion that these games were basically here to stay. And it actually made me sit down and think about it, that, if they release one game every year, aren't they eventually going to run out of ideas? And, it doesn't really matter if you have the biggest brains, from all the Ivy League schools at the round table. Eventually, the ideas are going to get stale. I mean, there's only so much that you can do with a first-person shooter, when you can't shoot magic out your hands or fly or do anything else, right? You can go to space, you can go to World War II, you can go to World War I, you can go to modern day, And it's kind of like, what else do you really have in the tank that the people haven't seen already, that they really haven't gotten a taste of? And, this was the time where I just snapped out of it. I snapped out of the delusion and I started to look at Call of Duty a different way because they threw my baby away. But moving on to the next bullet point, it's going to be Modern Warfare 3 ain't for me. Now, Modern Warfare 3 graces the gamers with its presence, and I'm just in the corner by myself because I know the community doesn't see it the way that I do. One of my favorite games in the series just got frisbeed like it didn't mean anything. So in my head, I'm like, well, why should I play this one or get attached to this one when I know what's going to happen to it by the end of the year, right? It's going to go in the trash with the rest of them. And, I started to see the cycle for what it was, and I didn't really want no parts of it, right? But, I couldn't escape it because I told you my dad, big gamer, really big gamer. So pretty much buying Call of Duty is a tradition at this point. So of course he bought it, and I got to play the campaign and the multiplayer. And by play the campaign, I mean I played the last mission of the campaign, which was because I know Call of Duty games have ridiculous final missions. So I wanted to see it, and ridiculous it was, of course. And after that, I played a little bit of the multiplayer. I played like 5 matches, but I just felt that it just didn't belong to me anymore. Because, we're going from Black Ops 1, which was really creative. Graphically, it looked pretty good too, at the time. And we go from that to Modern Warfare 3, which looks drab and dry. And it just looks like they're just, tossing up something else, right? Now, I'm not saying that the game is bad, but just in my opinion, it just seems like, oh, what? You're throwing away my baby. You're throwing away Black Ops 1 for something that it looks like you didn't even put that much effort into, right? Visually and gameplay wise. It just looks the same as the other ones. And then retrospect, really when you think about it, because I like to dive a little deep and think, what's the word I want to look for? I look a little bit below the surface. So as a kid, the emotions are really, really powerful. And as you know, experiences when we're younger shape how we think about them when we grow up. And feeling, yeah, I mixed up the words, but me feeling betrayed that they basically threw, my love away. They threw away Black Ops 1, and them doing that, and then me thinking to myself, well, if they're just going to keep chucking the games out and throwing the other ones away, they're eventually going to run out of ideas. And I don't know if you know this about me, but basically I'm going to confess, right, that I'm a gamer. And I pretty much play, all game genres. And at this point, even when I was younger, I was beating, hundreds and hundreds of games. I was playing games where, literally you're shooting lightning out of your hands and stuff like that and fighting dragons. So you're going from shooting lightning out of your hands and fighting dragons to going back to playing Call of Duty, and you can pretty much see the creativity basically get used up year after year after year. Especially looking at Modern Warfare 3, which I think was a game that didn't really have too much effort like that put into it. The wrap up of Makarov's story, it was kind of cool. Seeing Soap die, even though I didn't really care that much. It was it was a big deal for a lot of people. But I just felt like, I'm going from all these games that have so much creativity put into them to a game that gets released literally every year, and it's kind of obvious that they're running out of ideas. And from that point, it just felt that the series didn't really belong to me at that point. So not only was I feeling fatigue, that's worded correctly, but I felt that it didn't belong to me. So feeling that something doesn't belong to me mixed with fatigue is not really a good recipe for playing a game that you're supposed to have fun in. So from this point, I really thought about the series in a very different light. Well, I thought about it differently since they threw my baby away, right? But moving on in the presentation, and moving on we will with the next one, The well is empty. Now, the same thing that happened with Modern Warfare 3 happened with Black Ops 2. And now, I know a lot of people hold this game dear, and I'm not saying that the game is bad, but I already explained my mindset up until this point, that I just felt betrayed. You know, my baby's in the garbage can and more stuff is getting piled on top of her, and I just couldn't take it. I couldn't take it, and plus, you know, snapped out of the delusion. And I didn't really want to get attached to any more of the games just to see them go away. And plus, you know, I knew that there was no light at the end of the tunnel, and that eventually the games were going to have less and less creativity poured into them, and that eventually the people were going to rise up and demand more, which is pretty much happening nowadays. So I played Black Ops 2, and you know, I didn't even play the campaign of this one. I played, I want to say, half a multiplayer match, and I just put down the controller because, you know, of course my dad bought it again, but I wasn't feeling it. I just didn't feel like, I didn't feel anything. I felt so empty playing it, and it's just not for me. It's just not for me, right? All the passion is pretty much seeped out of me, and I don't want to play it. I don't want to play it. And I don't have to play it, which is okay. But again, series is not bad, but you know, my mindset at this point is pretty much, you know, you threw my baby away. I'm not going to get attached again. I'm not going to put in any more effort to play you, especially when I'm playing so many other games that I could do so much more in. And that wait, you know, 2 to even 5 years sometimes to release the sequel to something, because they're actually in there cooking it up. You know, these games are coming down the conveyor belt, and you know, sometimes they have all the arms and the head attached to them, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're missing an arm, they're missing a leg, and this would get proven with the next release of games, and even now, right? But next chapter is going to be incoming, and that chapter is Chapter 4. Press F to say goodbye. First one is going to be called The Cycle Continues. Now you had Ghost, Advanced Warfare, Black Ops 3, Infinite Warfare, World War II, Black Ops 4, and basically, they didn't miss a year. Not since 2005. The only time they missed a year was from Call of Duty 1 to Call of Duty 2, which was from 2003 to 2005. Now, every time they were released, I pretty much eye rolled. You know, I was watching the series basically from, you know, across the street. I had the binoculars out, and I was seeing what it was doing, and basically saying, you know, is this going to be the game that gets me back into it? Is this the one that they put the effort into? Because still can't forgive them what they did to my baby. But, you know, the years and years would begin to pass, and Call of Duty would basically become an afterthought for me until Black Ops 3 was released on PlayStation Plus. And the only reason why I played this is because I was basically peer pressured into playing it. You know, I have a group of friends that, you know, we like to play video games together, and they just wanted to play Black Ops 3 for one night. And it took a lot of convincing, because I'm like, don't make me download that shit. Please, can I not play Call of Duty tonight? Can we play something else? And, you know, they convinced me. You know, it is a free game. So I downloaded it, and it was going to be the first Call of Duty game I played. And I think it was like 7 or 8 years, because I remember that was before Modern Warfare 2019 came out. So that was probably maybe around 2018. So about 7 or 8 years playing my first Call of Duty again. And or not 7 or 8 years playing my first Call of Duty again, because I did play a little bit of Modern Warfare 3 and Black Ops 2. But, you know, it was another one that I was playing. And it was fun to roast it, because the spawns are still bad, which is amazing to me, because they literally haven't changed in so long, right? Literally the easiest way to get revenge on somebody, the fastest game of revenge ever, because you could shoot somebody, and either they're going to spawn in front of you around the corner in a place where you can't see them, but they can see you, and you're definitely going to run past that place and get shot, or they're going to spawn behind you and shoot you in the back, or they're going to spawn in front of you and you're going to shoot them in the back, or they're going to spawn behind you, but they're going to be looking the other way. It's a really, really crazy system, especially when you see the spawns flip when you run into the enemy spawn, and you can just have people spawn with their backs turned to you and you shoot them. I mean, it's really crazy. It's really bad. It's really bad that they haven't changed it. But, you know, it was fun running around with the boxing gloves and one hit punching people, right? Hiding in the doorway of a house and just punching people over and over again, wall running and punching people over again, and going positive, which meaning I'm getting more kills than deaths. And when that got boring, I ran around with the grenade. I had the pin, taking out the grenade, and I was just running at people full speed, because you could sprint at people when you have grenades cooked in your hand. You could just blow up just right next to them, and it's actually a good strategy. A lot of people fall for it, and they will get blown up basically after they die. After you die, they're going to get blown up either way. And things like that is pretty much what I found that gives me the most fun playing that game. Is that you do stupid stuff, and it's funny. It's funny to run around with boxing gloves, and it's funny to run around with a grenade in your hand and blow up in front of people. The gunplay is just not doing it for me. I just don't care enough to shoot people. I don't care enough to actually play the game regularly. I just want to be stupid, and that's how I have fun with the game. But again, not saying that the game is bad or anything like that. I know a lot of people like Black Ops 3. I'm just saying, you know, I have a skewed mindset, and it's just not for me, which is okay. It's okay that it's not for me. It could be for everybody else, but it's not for me. And again, that's okay. And my mindset is petty, by the way. I do recognize that, but I don't care. I don't care that much. Now, this is the moment of truth, right? Because it's a new engine and a new COD. And I'm talking about Modern Warfare 2019. Now, I remember being in my bed scrolling through my phone on YouTube, and I got to lay eyes on it, right? A new Call of Duty game, but from the looks of it, they got a new engine, right? So I click on it. The game looks beautiful. You know, I'm looking at it. The gameplay looks good. The weapons have a recoil. You know, I like the reload animation. It looks real tactical. And it just looks like they put a lot of effort into it. So I was really excited to play it once I saw that they had a beta coming out for it. I was like, you know what? This might be my return to the series. And, you know, my baby, she was waiting for me with open arms. She wanted me to come back to the house. She wanted me to. You know, since I packed my bags and left, nothing has been the same. Nothing has been the same. And I felt that void in me too. That void that only Call of Duty could fill, right? Because such a big part of my childhood. She's always been there for me. And by the looks of this game, Modern Warfare 2019, it seems like I was going to be heading home, and I was just going to get that big hug, and then maybe I was going to cry a little bit into her shoulder, right? Because I was going to be happy to be a part of the Call of Duty fanboys again, right? But we will see how that turned out, because downloaded the beta. You know, I had a friend jump on it with me, and we were both excited to see, you know, if the game was going to capture us, if the game was going to really grab us like that, right? And the next bullet point will explain all. Do I come back home to open arms, or do I walk away again and never look back? And I press F to say goodbye. The final bullet point, and the one that means the most in chapter 4, is going to be beta for the beta males. And I downloaded the beta. This is around the time I got my gaming laptop. I had a gaming laptop at the time, and I was a part of the PC master race. I had my toes, you know, all the way into the water. I was tapping it a little bit, testing the waters. And I was just getting used to it. And, Call of Duty is a casual game. So I was thinking, well, if this beta is going to grip me like that, because in the past I put a lot of time and effort into betas when I thought that the games was really good, and I ended up buying them. So, I'm excited. As I said, downloaded it from battle.net or Battle.net. I forget which one it is, but I downloaded it, had my friend with me, and we played our very first match. And what did I think of it, right? Was I finally home? Did she welcome me back with open arms? Did I shed some tears? Am I finally back in the ranks with the COD boys? And that is, I say, no. With a heavy heart, I say no. Because I played the game, and pretty much I got the same feeling I got when I was a little kid. That very empty feeling. That feeling like I didn't belong. The fatigue was no longer there because I haven't played a game really like that in a while. And I wasn't really devoted to it like that. But that other feeling, the feeling of just being empty, of being lost, of feeling like I didn't belong. And I don't know why I was feeling like that. I don't know. It's just, I guess the game just really passed me by, right? Which is okay. I don't have to like everything, but I really wanted to like this one. And I just felt nothing when I played it. It felt like I could be doing something better with my time, and I didn't want it to feel like that, right? Because that's how I was feeling with the other ones, feeling really empty and really, really lost, and just feeling like that void, that Call of Duty void, that it wasn't going to get filled, man. And, I was just looking down at the keyboard like, man, this is really it. This is really it. I don't feel anything anymore. Well, not anymore, but I haven't felt anything in a while, and I still don't feel anything. And it's sad to feel that way, but, if other people like it and feel like it's a good return to form, then that's okay. That's okay. I'm ready to say goodbye forever, basically, because I don't have to play the games, because it would just be a waste of money at this point. But there would be a reason why I bought the next one. Chapter 5. A cold day in hell. Now, you can't just sit on the games like that and buy Cold War, right? I mean, nobody likes this game, right? The skill-based matchmaking giant. Why would you like Cold War and not like the other games, right? Why would you do that? Why would you build this up just to say that you like what a lot of people consider the worst game in the series, right? Why would you do that to yourself? And I'm going to explain myself, right? I'm going to explain myself to the people. In the next video, because I'm not going to do it on this one. Video is long enough already. But, yeah, there is a reason why I bought Cold War. And it's not for the reasons that you think. This, boys and girls, is going to wrap up my presentation for part 1 of Call of Duty, A Falling Out of Love Story. Hopefully everybody liked it, right? Now, I'm going to put the mic down, put my pitchfork down. I'm going to go to the back of the classroom where I belong until part 2 comes out, until I cook it up in the kitchen, right? Everybody out there, have a nice day, and thank you for watching.